This is the 11-inch screen that you're going to find inside of the Chevrolet Equinox. So it's new for the 2025 plus models. If you're in an older Equinox, check down in the description of this video for a walkthrough on that last generation screen. But let's dive in and I'll show you what you need to know. So firstly, the button along the top left-hand side, you can push that in order to be able to mute your audio if you'd like to. If you do a longer push and hold, that's going to put you into more of a calming view. You've got your volume rocker in the middle there too. And you've got a series of different icons along the outside. The bottom two, so the home icon and the split icon, are locked into place, so you can't adjust those out. But the other four you can. All you're going to do is just push and hold, and then you can drag it around however you'd like. When you're back on this home screen, you'd have the flexibility of being able to customize these icons too. So if you do a button push, you can drag this around to whatever spot you'd like. So if you wanted to have your phone along the outside there, you'd have that flexibility. If you wanted to bring your audio, your maps and things like that around to the front side of the screen, you can kind of do an adjustment in order to make it your own. It's actually pretty useful. So if you wanted to be able to adjust these icons out, you could. And then one neater thing is that you can also overwrite these icons. So maybe you never use Apple CarPlay. Maybe you're a bigger fan of Android Auto. You can overwrite that one if you wanted to switch it back. If you maybe wanted to have a hot button pressed for your camera, you've got that flexibility. So it's just doing a button push and hold in order to be able to adjust the screen out. You can hit this little notification icon. It's going to let you know if there are notifications available for the screen. Then you've got your different light modes. You're going to be in the auto mode the majority of the time. So with the auto mode, if the vehicle recognizes the high beams are needed, it turns them on automatically. If somebody's oncoming, it's going to turn them off before turning them right back on again. If you wanted to permanently lock your high beams out, what you have to do is go into your headlamp mode. And when you do that, you can then push away in order to turn your high beams on. You then pull towards you or push away in order to turn them off again. It's just that when you're in the auto mode here, the vehicle is going to determine whether or not those high beams come on. And there you can tap Equinox in order to get to this screen where you can add in additional profiles. One of the big benefits there is that if multiple people are driving, it's going to remember the phones that you've connected, your presets. If you've got Google Maps that have been running and you've got addresses saved, things like that, it's going to lock it into your individual profile. When you tap Manage Profile, you can look at all of the profiles and accounts there too. You can add in an additional Google account to your profile. You can delete it too. And one of the benefits here, you can also hit security. I'd recommend this because you can add in either a pattern pin or a password. So somebody just can't look through all of your profile information. So if multiple people are driving the vehicle or even just for general safety, it would be worth it to look at one of these options here. So you're essentially locking the screen out. And then you've got different security updates and things like that. Along the top right-hand side of the screen, you can see your current connection level, your current outside temperature, and then tap in order to be able to adjust your clock settings. Straightforward. But let's dive line by line here, and I'll show you what you need to know. So you've got your Google Assistant, where you'd be able to do things like change sources, change radio stations. You can navigate using your voice and do a bunch of other things. You can activate your assistant that way if you'd like to. You'd also have the flexibility of tapping the voice command prompt along the steering wheel there in order to be able to activate your assistant. Pretty neat. You've got Google Maps that are built in, and it is Google Maps here. So this is a Google device. You can look at all of your previously saved addresses, swipe across in order to be able to delete. On the outside here, you can tap your microphone if you wanted to be able to search for an address that way. Hit the voice command prompt to do the same. You can tap here in order to show traffic, route options. Do you want to avoid highways, toll roads, ferries, and things like that? You can mute out your upcoming turns. You can show just alerts, or you can do unmuted so you get alerts when you're coming to a turn and a voice notification. Adjusting out your different head-up displays, or heading modes, I should say, and then do a pinch to zoom there, recenter it back on yourself. You can also download offline maps. The big benefit there is that if you're going somewhere where you know you won't have a data connection, you'll be able to download maps if you'd like to, or the areas that you're going to go, so that maps at least still work for you. You can zoom in and out this way. You saw the pinch to zoom there earlier. You can easily search for addresses. So searching for addresses, let's go for a point of interest icon. It's nice and Canadian of me, Tim Hortons. And let's look for one. It's a little bit further away. So let's go for number 5. So you can see there are multiple routes in order to get to where we want to go. You can see if there's parking available. You can tap this little feller in order to jump between all of the available route options. So if there's different ways that you'd want to go to get to your end destination, you can select whichever way you'd like. You can tap route options to avoid different things on the route. And then if we hit back, you can either start or you can add in an additional stop. One of the benefits of having that additional stop is, I don't know, maybe let's say if you are going for a long distance trip, you'd essentially be able to set however many waypoints that you want to. So if you wanted to go to a gas station, select whichever one there, gives you different options. Let's add that stop in. You could then exit out, or you can do a button push and hold in order to reorganize the order of the routes that you're going to, or the end destinations. Once you're done there, you can tap done, and look at that. We've got our route going. You can edit it out, starting the route.
Head southwest toward Henry Street, Durham Regional Road 45.
Then with an active route going, inside of the cluster screen, you can see there you've got your turn-by-turn directions. You can tap this button on the steering wheel. Watch this. Brings you into this basic screen, but tapping again brings you into full map and cluster. So you've got a few different views that are available. There's no head-up display inside of the Equinox, but you've got a series of different display modes that are available. I'm personally a bigger fan of this mode, so you at least still get your turn-by-turn directions, but it's kind of neat that you've got a full map and cluster view that's available there too. You can exit out if you'd like. You can search for additional addresses. If you tap the exit icon, you can remove the next stop you're going to or fully exit navigation. There we go. And you can see the addresses that we've saved previously, searching for point of interest icons. You see there's also this little icon. You can sign into your Google account. So if you've been using Google Maps on your phone, you'd be able to then sign into your Google account, and any addresses that you've searched for in Google Maps would be pulled right into the device here too. It's actually kind of neat. Back home, you've also got audio. So audio, you've got AM, FM, SiriusXM, Bluetooth. If you had a USB stick with MP3s on there, that would be available too. Start off on FM side of things. You've got all of your available presets there, and you can see it's a mix of AM, FM, and SiriusXM. In order to be able to save a preset, just tune to whatever station you'd like to. So you can tune this way, you can tune this way if you'd like to, so you can enter in a station that way and go. And you saw there, when we tap this, you've got all of the available stations that are available based off of where you're currently located. If you wanted to save a preset in, just button push in order to be able to overwrite. It's pretty simple. From there, if we tap here again, you can see all of the stations that are available. So if you're a bigger fan of different stations, you can just move through all of the available stations here in order to be able to save in all of your different presets. Once you've done that, you can see all of the available presets there, and again, mix of AM, FM, SiriusXM. If you tap this little guy, you can look at some additional sound settings. So if you wanted to adjust your bass, mid-range, and treble, I just picked this car up, that'd be terrible. So bass, up a few points, mid-range, up a point or two, treble might be a point or two. But what I'd recommend here is play one of your favorite songs. And while that song is playing, adjust these out until it sounds perfect for you. You've got a fade and balance, so do you want it focused on the driver, people in the back, etc. Recenter it back out to the middle. Let's see, if the text is available for the radio station, so if they broadcast digitally, that would show up. And that's the information right under the screen there. If we hop into, let's go SiriusXM, you've got a few other options here. So you've got related, play, artist, stations, you've got your play pause too. So on SiriusXM, you can play or pause, you can tap this in order to get to all of your different category views for SiriusXM. Back again, tapping there gives you a few other options. So location services, tune to start, and then subscription. Pretty easy. And tapping this one here gives you the option of managing your radio favorites. So you can see all of your available presets that you've saved in. If you wanted to delete certain presets, you could. All you're going to do is tap on the trash icon there to get rid of them, and then you can readjust them. So one thing I'd like to see is it auto readjust to fill all of these empty spots, but you can easily drag these stations around, deleting as necessary, and you're set to go. Yeah, watch this. Because it doesn't autofill, we've now got just like random holes there. So you'd easily be able to adjust out all of these presets so that it's perfect for you. And as you saw there, a mix of AM, FM, SiriusXM, Spotify's there, Alexa's there, and I mentioned a USB stick with MP3s on it too. Let's go ahead and add in a phone. I'm going to start off on the iPhone side of things. So you're just going to tap on Manage Phones. Just tap Add Phone. In your phone's Bluetooth, you're just waiting for, there we go, Chevrolet 3052 to pop up. PIN numbers match up, so let's go ahead and pair and pair. Do you want to allow access to contacts and favorites? This is not my car, so I'm saying no to this one. Obviously, if it was yours, you could say yes. Now, you could stop here, so you'd be able to make phone calls and you can stream audio this way because the phone is connected. Now, one nice thing though is that you do have Apple CarPlay in the device and it's fully wireless. You do have backwards compatibility available, so you could use a USB-C cable or a USB Type A, but let's go ahead and use wireless. So let's just tap, use CarPlay. You have to make sure you enable, and it'll take a second there in order to connect. Look at that. Apple CarPlay is fully connected. So you can see there, your basic home screen is right here. So this is typically the screen that you're going to be met with when the vehicle's first started up for CarPlay. You've got different icon views and things like that available. Inside of Apple CarPlay, you've got your current time, connection, and battery level. And then these are apps that were last opened. So you've got maps, audio, and then miscellaneous. You can tap there to get to an icon view back to the home screen. And this screen is locked into place. So you can't customize the layout. You'll always have your map, your search box, and then whatever audio was last listened to. And then you've got all of these different icons. You've got Apple Maps, Google Maps, and Waze that are all available. The downside, no pinch to zoom capabilities. So you just have to zoom in and out this way. One thing I love about using Waze is that if there's construction, if there are speed traps and things like that, people are pretty good at marking that stuff off, and you can mark things off yourself. So if you notice that there's a speed trap, you can give other drivers a heads up, crashes, hazards, and things like that. Pretty straightforward. You've got Hoopla, which is a library app. Live One is a radio app. There's YouTube Music that's available here too, so no video playback inside of CarPlay, unfortunately. Podcasts are available there too. And then you've got the flexibility of customizing the layout of the icons, but you can also tap settings here in order to turn it into driving focus, or you can change it the appearance. So do you want dark mode, automatic, or your wallpaper? And maybe you're a bigger fan of a different color scheme. You've got the flexibility of being able to adjust that out if you'd like to. If you do a short button push on the voice command prompt on the steering wheel, that's going to bring up the assistant for the vehicle. If you do a long button push and hold, that is going to bring up your Siri assistant. And then you can also change out the icon layout here. So on your phone, all you're going to do is jump into your settings, general, and then CarPlay. You're going to find your vehicle, so your Chevrolet there. You can forget it, you can customize it, or toggle CarPlay off. But let's say if you can't even get to this step, so CarPlay's not working at all, check down in the description of this video for a walkthrough on some common CarPlay fixes that you can try. But what we want to do here is customize. And then on the phone here, you can see all of your options. So you can just do a drag and drop in order to be able to customize the layout. So dragging that hamburger icon to whatever icon layout you'd like. On the phone, anything with a minus next to it, you can remove it from the screen. So it does remove it, but it saves it on the bottom here. So if you wanted to add these icons back in, you could. But let's say if you played around with the layout too much and you really don't like what you've done, on your phone, the top right side, you can tap reset home screen layout, and that just brings you back to that factory default layout. If you're outside of CarPlay, you could easily hop back inside that way. It's funny here, I just noticed there are two different CarPlay icons there. But actually, let's do this. Let's drag Android Auto into one of them. And then button push in order to hop back into Apple CarPlay that way. If you hop back home, go into your settings, and then your connections, you could toggle CarPlay off completely if you'd like to. If we go into phones now, you can see that I'm currently connected to the iPhone for CarPlay. So I could disconnect from CarPlay, just connecting over Bluetooth there that way. Oh, if you hop back into options now, you can disconnect, forget it, and then you've got some other basic options there. Oh, I know that's a little bit of info, but that's how you set up Apple devices inside of the Equinox. Setting up Android devices is pretty straightforward. What you're going to do is tap phone, and you can see there, I'm currently connected to the iPhone right now that I've previously connected. You can tap here in order to go to your connected phone, and then just tap the Add New button there. Let's go ahead and switch phones. Then on your Android, you're just going down, and same idea, we're going to look for Chevrolet 3052. Here we go, popped up, and let's go ahead and connect. PIN numbers match up, so K and pair. Then on the phone, it's asking, do I want to allow access to messages and contacts? This is not my car, so I'm saying no to that one. You can stop here. So you can just tap X if you don't want to use Android Auto, if you just wanted to go for phone calls and for streaming audio, but it's wireless Android Auto. So let's just go ahead and hit enable there. It is backwards compatible, so you could use a USB cable to plug in that way if you'd like to. On your phone, welcome to Android Auto, and continue. Look at that. Fully connected here too. And then on your Android device, so you can, well, I guess on Android Auto, you can see you've got your maps there, some basic audio. Along the bottom, there's this little icon tray. You can tap back in order to get to the little split screen. And you've also got your Google Assistant for your phone. So there are two different Google Assistants. There's the one for the vehicle, and then push and hold on the button on the steering wheel in order to be able to get into your phone assistant. But you can get your assistant going that way if you'd like to. You've got your map icons and some others, including your connection and your battery level. You can tap the Google Map icon there to go full screen Google Maps on your device. Button push in order to get to the little split screen there. And then you can tap this in order to get back to your icon view. I've got Waze installed on my phone. If Waze is installed on your phone, it's not showing up. Check down in the description of this video for a little walkthrough on how you can add Waze in along with other icons and other apps, but you've also got the flexibility of customizing the layout here. In order to do it on your Android device, you're just going to search for Android Auto. You're going to go into Android Auto settings, and when you do that, it gives you a boatload of options. But what we're looking for is Customize Launcher. And then, in order to adjust these, there's a little hamburger icon along the outside. We're just going to drag that. It's like a fine little area that you gotta tap it. Come here, feller. Oh, come on, you. This is hilarious. There we go. All right, so you just drag and drop there. And then there's a check mark along the outside. So you could remove anything with a check mark next to it. Outside of that, all of the other apps are going to be locked into place. It's not dynamic here though. So in order for any changes that you make here to come into effect, so if you wanted to adjust the layout, what you actually have to do, hop out of Android Auto, you're gonna go into your phone here to connected phone. You're gonna disconnect from Android Auto. You're gonna reconnect to Android Auto. And when it launches back in, you can see there, the changes that we made have come into effect. So it's not dynamic, but you can still customize it a little bit if you'd like. Tapping back, home again. If we go into settings, you can get to these things a few different places, and then phone. Actually, if we go back one, you can disable Android Auto if you'd like to. Hopping into phone there, you could disconnect from Android Auto, reconnect over Bluetooth, and you can easily switch or swap phones as necessary. Tapping into options gives you the option for first to connect. So if you've got multiple phones connected to the vehicle, who's it going to try to connect to first? Good, also forget the phone and forget. That's deleted the Galaxy from the device here, and then tap again, forget, and you're set to go. But it's that easy setting up Apple and Android devices inside of the Equinox. Looking at your cameras, so this car does have a full 360 cam. So you can see there, your front view, top-down view, side-mounted camera view, and a round view. You can tap this in order to get back to your little options there for your headlamps. When that goes away, your parking sensors. So the beeping that you get as you get closer to obstacles, you can disable that if you'd like to. When you're in reverse, that's going to give you your backup camera views with all of the same options there too. Simple. From there, you've got your vehicle status, and vehicle status gives you a bunch of different options. So you could push there in order to be able to see what's going on with everything. So your individual tire pressure, you're looking at your brakes, your brake pad life and everything like that, oil life and things like that. So you could tap through in order to get to any of these available options. Then you can see there's the option to add it to the driver display. Now, inside of the driver display, you've got the left part of the cluster screen there where you'd be able to customize it. So if you wanted your oil life there, you can add that in. If you wanted to have your tire or brake information, so if you wanted your tire pressure there, you could change that out. So you could only adjust out the one side. If you were on one of the different subscreens there, it's going to essentially kick you back. Hold on, so we do that. Let's just go to one of these other screens. And then if we go trip counter, because I'm a bigger fan of having that trip information, let's add it to the driver display, continue. You can see it pushes you onto that display where we've added in the trip information. But you've got the flexibility of adjusting that out, which is kind of cool. And then you can also reset information. So you've got all of your fluid info. So if you're doing an oil change yourself, you can reset it. You can see all of your engine information, multiple pages there. And then your trip counters. So you've got two individual counters. So you've got your trip 1 versus trip 2. You can easily reset one of the counters by just tapping, reset, reset. That's just going to reset it out simply. Love it. Then if we hop back to Alexa is available here too. You've got a series of different vehicle settings. There's a lot there, so I'm going to save that one for last. You've got some climate control options. So the climate controls are built into the screen, but you've got all of the options underneath the infotainment system here too. So you've got dual zone climate control available as an option. When you've got the passenger side set to something different than the driver, inside of the infotainment system, you can sync it up, and under the screen there, you can sync it up. So it's going to sync up the passenger side to whatever the driver's side set up for. You've got heated ventilated first row seats that are available, adjusting your fan speed, and then all of your other basics down there. So toggle the system off. Do you want it going to windshield face speed? You've got hotspot that's available here too. One of the big benefits of having the vehicle set up as a wireless hotspot is that it doesn't chew through your phone data. So if you're on the road, you'd be able to just set up your Wi-Fi hotspot there, and then you'd be able to connect your phone to your vehicle and then just run off of data that way. There are a series of different controls that are available. So on this screen, I've got the controls set up on the top left-hand side there. You can also access controls that way. And there are a bunch of different options. You can turn on the overhead dome lighting if you'd like to. So on, off, right through the infotainment system, kind of a random feature. You can lock out the rear windows. You can hot button push to get into your camera. You can toggle traction control on or off. The only time I'd really recommend that is in slippery, snowy conditions where you can't get wheel traction. But one cool thing is that down the center there, you've also got this mode button, and you'd be able to switch between different drive modes. So off-road, snow, ice, and normal. So they're going to play with traction control, stability control, things like that. Back out, let's hop into controls again. Auto high beams are available. So remember how I said we've got your auto mode? Make sure that auto high beams are enabled, because if the vehicle recognizes high beams are needed, it can turn them on automatically. You can toggle your fog lamps on or off. There's park assist. So it says park assist. It's not like a full park assist system where it's going to help out with parallel perpendicular parking. It's your reverse park sensing system. So the beeping that you get as you go to back up, if your Equinox has it. There are more controls available. You can lock out your windows if you'd like to. Your liftgate height, you'd be able to change that around too. So do you want to open up to the very max? You can customize, set it how high or low it's going to open up. You can turn it off completely and put it into a manual mode. So you'd have to hit the button and manually raise it yourself if you'd like to. You've got options for your lights. So again, all of your different lighting options for your overhead light, your auto high beams, headlamps. I just like the way that GM's got this set up. And then drive and park, traction control, and then your lane assistance too. You've got My Chevrolet, News, Spotify, and then just a few other apps that were downloaded. So Spotify, Waze, and then your Play Store. So Play Store, all you're going to do is sign into the Play Store, and you'd be able to download a bunch of different apps right to the screen. Once you've signed in, that's also going to sign you in for your maps. So once you're signed in this way, you'd also then be able to search for any addresses or look at any addresses that you've previously searched for on your phone, which means we're diving into settings and so many options. Connections is where you're going to look at all of your connected phones. You could toggle Apple CarPlay or Android Auto off. You've got your wireless hotspot. Let's see, nothing exciting there. Your vehicle options. Audio settings, which we've already seen, so adjusting your treble, mid-range, and bass. Teen drivers available, so you'd be able to set limitations for the key fob, so you can't go past a certain speed, things like that. Rear seat reminder, if the second row doors are opened up and then you go to turn the vehicle off, it's going to give you a little message inside of the cluster telling you to check the back seats. Buckle to drive, you do then would have to technically buckle your seatbelts in order for the vehicle to start driving. After a few seconds, it'll let you start driving anyways, but I personally am not a fan of that feature, but you can toggle it on off. All of your different climate settings, I do recommend keeping all of these enabled. So auto defog, defrost, things like that. Well, at least I should say these two. Do you want your heated seats to come on when the vehicle started up? It's getting into the summertime. Absolutely not. Do you want your cooler ventilated seats to come on automatically? That's a yay for me. Collision detection systems with emergency braking, you've got options. So you can toggle off emergency braking completely, but what I recommend, alert and brake, because if you're potentially going to get into an accident, it's automatically going to brake for you in order to ideally minimize the impact of a collision or completely avoid it if possible. If the vehicle recognizes pedestrians in front of you, maybe you haven't seen, it's going to brake for you. If you've been in an accident in an intersection, it's automatically going to brake for you too, or nothing will happen. Keep these safety settings turned on unless you're going onto a track. When you put yourself into cruise control, do you want that notification, yay or nay? Let's see, park assist with braking. So as you go to back up, if there's an obstacle behind you, it can automatically brake for you. Rear cross traffic braking. So as you go to back up, if somebody's coming perpendicular, so from the left or the right-hand side, it can let you know of a potential collision and it can actively brake for you. And then as you're going to back up, if there's a pedestrian behind you, it can also give you a heads up and let you know. I like that you can disable all of these settings if you really wanted to. Comfort and convenience, you've got different volumes that are available. How high up do you want that rear liftgate to go? Do you want hands-free access, which means that you only need to stand by the boot of the vehicle in order for that liftgate to raise up? Reverse mirror tilt. Do you want both the driver passenger mirrors or just the driver or the passenger to tilt? So when you put the vehicle into reverse, see there, the mirrors tilt down. I'm personally not a fan of that one. Yeah, when you go to park or start to drive again, it'll bring them right back up. I'm not a fan of that one, so I keep that one toggled off. See, rain sensing wipers, you can toggle that on off. Auto wiper rin in reverse. So if your windshield wipers are going, you put your vehicle into reverse and it's going to automatically turn on the rear wiper for you. With your lighting, when you go to unlock the vehicle, all of the lamps in the car will come on. This makes it easier for you to see. When you go to lock the vehicle, do the lamps just turn off or do they stay on for up to 2 minutes? With your door locks, auto door unlock, do you want the driver's door to become unlocked or all doors to become unlocked automatically? Remote lock, unlock, and start. When you go to remote lock the vehicle, do you want lights and a horn, strictly lights, or a horn or nothing? The feedback I think is useful because then you know you actually locked your vehicle, but you can have any of these options here for that lock feedback. When you go to unlock the doors, is it all doors become unlocked or just the driver's door? When you remote start, do you want the heated ventilated seats to come on? Yay, nay. There's remote window operation, and then a few other useful ones. So let's hop outside and I'll show you how a bunch of these features work. In order to remote start, what you're gonna do is push the lock button once and then that circle button twice. You're just gonna lock, circle twice. There you go, remote started. In order to cancel the remote start, just push and hold that circle button again. Remote start's now canceled. Getting into the trunk can be done a few different ways. From the fob, you can double push the button there in order to be able to hop inside. There is also the option for a proximity sensor. So as long as it's enabled, walk up to the back end and that liftgate is going to raise up for you too. You can also set a custom height. So all you're going to do is drag the liftgate to whatever height you'd like it to be set to. Once you've got your height selected, just push and hold. You heard that little beep, so now it won't open up past that point, which I think is pretty useful. And there's one other key fob trick that you can do, and that's rolling the windows down. So on the fob, all you're gonna do is press the unlock button twice and hold on the second press. So you're gonna go 1, 2, and hold, and watch this. Haha, love it. One downside is that it's strictly windows down, not up, and it doesn't open up the sunroof. Love it. I'm a big fan of that remote window operation. It would be nice if the windows were back up, but at least rolling them down is pretty neat. You've got your passive door unlock for just the driver's door or all doors. So there's a little button on the handle there to get inside. And if you left the vehicle, left your key in the vehicle, remove the key from the vehicle. So if the car's on and you leave the vehicle, it can give you an alert there too. Your seating position with memory. Some versions of the Equinox do have driver's seat memory available. You just set your driver's seat up the way that you'd like to. Once you do, tap set, and then either 1 or 2 for it to remember your own personal profile. But with the seat entry exit memory, what's going to happen is, let's say for the exit memory here, you turn the vehicle off, it's actually going to back the seat up for you to be able to get in and out of the vehicle a little bit easier. You can put yourself into transport mode there too. Notifications, if they were available, those would show up. You've got different apps that are available. All of these, honestly, you've got permission managers, things like that. This is going to be like too advanced for most people, so I would just skip this. Date and time, you can get into your settings to adjust or tap your date and time up that way. Do you want to be in the military time instead? So do you prefer that 12 versus 24-hour mode? These are grayed out because you're in automatic mode. Time zone, the only time I would recommend this is if you live somewhere where you straddle a time zone and it's constantly flipping you from one time zone to the next. You'd then be able to permanently lock yourself in any of the available time zones. Just keep yourself in auto, and it's the same thing for the date and time. So do you want to manually adjust that out yourself? There are different options for your display, so you can change up the mode. Do you want to be in dark mode, light mode, or auto? In auto, the vehicle's automatically going to determine if you're in the day or the nighttime mode, just depending on how bright it is outside. And then there are different options for your cluster screen. So do you want your turn-by-turn directions showing up? So that would show up along the right-hand side of the cluster screen there. And then traffic sign recognition. Do you want that showing up? Yay or nay? So you can see your traffic sign there, whether or not that one shows up. You can toggle the display off if you'd like. button push along the top to bring it back on, or push and hold in order to go into that off mode too. Options for sound, volume startup. So let's say if you have the volume cranked because you're just rocking out, you could then, when you go to start the vehicle up next time, have it set to a custom level. That touch feedback, so the beeping we're getting here, if that drives you nuts, you can toggle it off. You've got all of your different profile account information, nothing overly exciting there. It's the assistant and voice. Hitting here gives you the option of adjusting your languages out. So do you want to be in all of these options? That's for your voice assistant. So when you go to change song stations, things like that, what language do you want that assistant to be in? You can have it listen for, hey Google. So instead of pushing the voice command prompt on the steering wheel, you'd be able to say that phrase in order to have it pop up. When you have an incoming text message, do you want to have a little summary played, yay or nay? Nothing overly exciting there. Security, profile lock would be the big one here. So if you've got multiple people driving the car, or just for general security, you might want to enter a pattern PIN or a password to protect your profile. System information, do you want to change your basic language, so either English, French, or Spanish? You've got different keyboard options there, nothing overly exciting. Measurement units, so you can be in either US or metric. That's one of the benefits of having a fully digital cluster. So as we adjust out, you can see it adjusts everything. So the speed, the odometer, things like that. But if you want a full walkthrough on the steering buttons or the cluster, you'll find that walkthrough down in the description of this video. Reset options, you've got a few options. So you can do a full infotainment reset. So if you're selling your vehicle, you can restart in safe mode. There is a way for you to do a soft screen reboot here too. I'll show you that one towards the end of the infotainment walkthrough. You can see storage information because this is an Android device. If you're downloading music, other apps and things like that to the vehicle, you can see what's available there. And underneath the screen, you've got all of your available climate settings, 2 USB power points and data transfer, so USB-C, USB Type-A. There's a wireless charge pad, your selector switch for your drive modes. And if the infotainment system's giving you problems, like let's say Apple CarPlay's not working, Android Auto's not working, Google Maps isn't working on the screen, or it's just glitching and bugging out, you can do a soft screen reboot. In order to do it, there's a little button on the steering wheel here, so that's going to be for answering or hanging up on a phone call. All you're going to do, push and hold that one in for about 10 to 12 seconds or so. You're just going to keep on hanging on. And this is going to solve the majority of issues that you're facing inside of the vehicle. So like I said, Apple CarPlay's not working, Android Auto's not working, things like that. You're going to get to this screen eventually. You could enter recovery mode or do a full factory reset, but we're going to do nothing here. After a few seconds, you're going to notice that the screen goes blank. If you enter recovery mode, what that's going to do is essentially disable any apps that you've installed, so you'll then be able to log in to the Play Store in order to remove them. But after a few seconds here, you'll see Android is starting, and it's honestly the exact same thing as if you were to do a reboot on your phone. So it's going to clear out the cache and get rid of any issues that you might be facing. So if you're getting issues with CarPlay, Android Auto, Maps, things like that, soft reboot is the first thing that you want to try. A full factory reset would be the next thing that you're going to try. So under your system reset there, in order to do a full factory reset. So soft reboot, full factory reset. If nothing works there, you could try pulling the battery next, but your best bet would just be to bring it in for available service. So I know that is a lot of information, but that's everything you need to know about the infotainment system inside of the Chevrolet Equinox.